Today's trip brought us to Cressing Temple, a site near Witham and Braintree which has some important historical connections, which I hope serves as a decent starting point for a pleasant walk around the Essex countryside. Right, so we've learned our lesson, I think. After a few attempts of doing longer walks in the winter where you've got no time at all because of the sun, we're trying to do a short walk today, so hopefully it should only be about, a 3-hour walk, and we hope we can still bring something which is marginally interesting to the video. But anyway, let's get on. Cressing Temple today offers free parking, which is always a bonus, and a cafe run by the Tiptree Jam Company. We feel it would be rude not to stop in and test the tea and scones here, so for the viewers' benefit, of course, we did just that. So why is Cressing Temple an important historical site? Well, simply these old barns that make up Cressing Temple and much of the farmland which this walk actually takes place on were all once part of the Knights Templars estate. And without copying the Wikipedia's article in verbatim fashion, the land here was offered to the Knights Templar during the 1130s and remained with them until the heretical accusations from the continent forced the order to disband in the early 1300s. The estate was then passed over to the Knights Hospitallers until the mid-1500s, when King Henry VIII enacted the dissolution of the monasteries and gave much of the Catholic land to friends within his court. The site's actually been part of Essex County Council since the late 80s, so I'm surprised that the parking is free. So now that we've got the essentials out of the way, we can go into the details of this walk, in case you're interested. So it's not a very long one, it's only 6.5 miles. So I'll give you the route. It's start with Cressing Temple here, along the road, up to this footpath, down to this farm. As you see, we walk both ways on this section, and then it's just a simple route, a loop round to Rivenhall, and then back up the way we came. Back again. It's a very basic walk.
Alright.
You're getting a bit warm there, Chris.
It is quite hot when you're wearing thermals.
Mistletoe. Oh, look at the mistletoe. Isn't it nice?
I'll give us a kiss.
So I'm not happy, Chris.
Why not?
Well, either you've got Adidas sponsorship you haven't told me about, in which case I want some shares, or you're turning into a chav.
In it?
Proper. Well, it looks like installation of a solar farm and associated development, Novus Renewable Services Limited. So there we go. Another field currently growing your food that's going to be transferred over to producing solar energy for about 10 minutes of every day on average. How environmentally friendly, and how ridiculous.
Gosh. Hold on, you go first.
You want me to go first? Yes, I'm still.
Yeah.
Not today. As we approach the village of Rivenhall, it might be worth mentioning that there was an airfield here during World War II called, surprise surprise, RAF Rivenhall. The airfield was primarily used by the US Air Force and was home to mainly P-51 and B-26 squadrons. Some of the old buildings still remain there to this day. We didn't go there, but rather than me going back and filming a few old buildings, I would implore you to check out Beyond the Points video of this site.
Yeah, but sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes there is a shop that's just so not important. They're not even on Google.
Chris,
Yes,
do you ever feel that health and safety goes a bit OTT recently?
quite often.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Why that person?
We found one of those local shops, which is so local, don't even advertise on Google. So, Oak Stores, we're advertising for you. So, Chris, it's a can of Coke.
Thank you.
Oh, this joystick thing's a bit fucking weird on this. Here's a bottle of water.
Okay, I'll use that to clean my car.
Okay. I bought some jelly babies. There we go. Right. But recently, we've been spending a lot of time together, and I've decided to give you something, a little respect.
Oh, thanks, babe.
No, it's all right. No worries. I love you.
I love you too.
This here is St Mary's Church in Rivenhall. This rather modern 19th century building stands on top of multiple different foundations, and excavations have found evidence of pre-Roman occupation as well as 1st century Roman masonry work, which could possibly be a villa or perhaps even a pagan temple, which might make sense because a lot of the time churches were placed on top of pagan sites. Afterwards, it was the site of a Saxon era building, probably a church, and then a 14th century church. So I know on camera it doesn't usually come out as you see it, but this area is just really nice. Can't really explain it any other way. It's just nice. So before we leave Rivenhall, there's one thing I need to discuss, which I won't discuss now because I'm useless with knowledge retention, and it's sort of related, kind of, to Burns Night in a weird way. So we've got our own Essex version of Burns, which I'll discuss now. The Essex poet in question was Thomas Tusser, who was born in Rivenhall in 1524. By all accounts, his book 500 Good Points of Husbandry was a bestseller during the Elizabethan era, although there is some irony in that, which we'll get to in just a second. In his early years, he was pressed into service as a choir boy, either around Oxford or Cambridge, probably Cambridge, before being educated at Eton. After college, he worked as a musician in the service of William Paget, however you say that, who was a high-up statesman at the time. Eventually, he retired to Suffolk and Catawade, where he wrote his famous treatise, which, as its name suggests, gave the reader advice on the nature of farming and land management. The irony is that it is often stated that Tusser died penniless in his mid-50s, although some sources dispute this. One statement from Thomas Fuller, who lived around the same time, said that he traded at large in oxen, sheep, dairies and grains of all kinds to no profit. Allegedly though, the old saying, which goes, "A fool and his money are soon parted," is often attributed to Thomas Tusser. But, let's be honest, it's most likely that he was just the first to put it on paper, as that's probably always been a very common saying.
we're going on to go to a 3-star hotel, yeah?
Now, see, he's filmed this bit because there's a little footbridge here, and that's a key bit of interest because this is such a boring walk.
I don't think it's that boring, to be honest. Oh, nearly 250 quid.
Oh dear. This ain't great, mate, this. He's filming, ain't he? Fuck you, Chris. Not today. Damn it!
It weren't exactly brilliant, to be honest, in normal boots.
So I know this is a bit, you know, a bit of a small issue, but I've just discovered something massive. Love hearts aren't love hearts anymore, they're now kind hearts. Are you going to say something?
No, I just thought I'd film it.
Oh, alright.
So there you have it. It's a there's the walk around Cressing Temple and some other places.
Rivenhall.
Rivenhall.
I always thought Rivenhall sounded like something from Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's it, demonetised.
Green means go.
That's it. That's the video. You know the routine. If you didn't enjoy the video, don't forget to dislike and leave us abuse in the comments. Bye for now. Going to the boozer!